Good evening, students. So, today we will start with the new topic, that is characterizing the existing network and the sites. Okay, so before starting this new topic, we will see what we have covered in our last session. So, in last session, we have more talked about how the network requirements can be gathered from the customer, right? Then how to define a specific scope of any kind of the network if you wanted to design, right? That also we have discussed. And then how the initial requirement can be extracted with the 4 to 5 steps we have covered, right? How the requirement can be gathered from the customer by asking some prerequisite questions and all that things, right? And how these particular all the requirements whatever you have got, that frame or that can be a prepare one document for that, and that document we can call it as a RFP or an RFI, that is request for proposal and request for information, right? And finally we have also discussed in last session, that is how the network requirements can be gathered in terms of the organizational goals, in terms of the technical goals, in terms of their technical and organizational constraints as well, right? So all these things we have covered in our last session, right? So today we are going to start with this characterizing the existing networks and the site. The today's session is specifically we are more focused on the existing whatever the existing network architecture or existing network design whatever the organization have, right? How you need to get the some initial requirements and all the network requirements from the existing organization or from the existing customer to in order to improve the network design, in order to you can call it as an provide an advanced solution to the existing network infrastructure to that particular organization, right? So today I have divide this particular session into three points. That is, first one, we will see about in customer point of view, right? Whatever the customer gives you inputs, right? So depending upon that, then the network audit, right? So what are the steps and the tools involved in auditing of the any kind of the network, that also we will discuss. And what are the different automation tools are available with respect to the analysis of the network traffic, right? That also we will see with some commands, with some tools and some screenshots I will explain you. And after that, the summary of that particular report, whatever the information you are receiving from the customer, that also you need to frame it, you need to create a report, you need to prepare a report. And that how that report can be generated, what are the some points are there in that particular summary report, that also we will see. And finally that particular document, and what are their points of that particular documents that you need to create at the end of your what we can call as network design, right? So let's start with the first point, that is a customer input, right? If you see of any kind of the network, right? Any kind of the organizational network, whatever the organization is, then they have their own set of the network infrastructure, they have their own network design diagram, some of the listing of their network infrastructure, internetworking devices, right? They have their any existing documentation of all this, all that things, right? So as a for example, as you are a network designer, right? And you need to identify the existing network infrastructure, right? Then you need to get that particular network existing documentation from the customer, right? Which having all the information with respect to their organization, right? And that you need to cross verify with the existing network infrastructure, right? So whether all these things are available or not, right? And how you are going to check or cross check all these things with the help of some obviously network assessing or auditing tools, right? So network auditing or assessment which can be gives you and all the details of the networks, right, which are whatever the customers is claiming, right, that you can verify with the help of that particular from the network assessment, right. So that network assessment you can do both ways, right, the manual as well as from the automation by using some automation tools, right. So for manual, for example, if you see in a operating system also, the process management chapter you have, right, in that also the process process management utilities you have seen, right, the top command, the ps command, right, pid of command, right, the pkill command, right, all these are nothing but the sum of the process command utilities, right, that you have using. So that is nothing but the manual way to check whether the what is the process id of that particular process. For example, firefox is running, so what is the process id of that particular firewall, firefox, right, that also you need to check, right. So all this likewise in network also there are different commands, right, from that you can assess your network, right. So that is nothing but your manual one. And some of the tools you are using, for example this cactia and net mri, these some of the tools you are using, that is also some way to audit the network, right. And then in last topic in traffic analysis, right, the traffic analysis with respect to your network, right. So whatever the network application, what are the protocols you are using with respect to send a packet from one source to the destination, right, in that you need to analyze your traffic, right. So what are the different protocols they are using, which way, what is the source ip, what is the destination ip, right, and all that things you can analyze the traffic by certain ways. You know already the tools, wireshark, tcp dump, and all that things, right. So likewise there are some cisco related tools are available, right. Some software based tools are available, some hardware based tools are available. So we will see some of the examples in our further slides, right. So how these particular tools can be useful for analyzing of any kind of the traffic, right. So if you see the first point, that is the customer input, right. So in the customer input, what information you can get from that particular existing network of that organization. For example, if you see in our college, right, in college infrastructure, right, what information you can get. For example, what is the location of the server room, right, what are the different types of the server our centralized server room have, right, what are the different networking devices it having, right, which type of the cabling it using, right. So whether it will be fiber optic cable, with whether it is coaxial cable, which type of the cable they are using, right. And then what is the wiring closet location, right, whether the what is the WAN speed or any LAN speed, right, whether the power receptors are there, right. All these things are there, which you can get it from your that particular customer documentation, right. Network documentation which the customer gives you, right. So all these information you can get. Then what are the topology diagram also you can get, right. Logical topology diagram you can get, which gives you and what are the different routing protocols are using, what are the different addressing schemes are there, right. Whether the what is the storage media wireless services are there or not, right. What is the speed of that wireless services, which is who is the isps, and all that things, right. In terms of the network topology also, you can get the information from what are the different networking devices are used in that particular organization, right. Whether the physical and logical links are there, what are the external connections are there, then what is the bandwidth of that particular connections, right. Then ip addressing, what are the routing protocols are there, right. All these things with respect to the network topology, you can get the question, you just ask the question, you can get the information, you just see the network documentation from that particular customer organization, right, and you will get all this information with respect to your network topology, right. Then with respect to your network services, right, so what are the different networking services that particular organization is providing, right. For example, what are the different security parameters are considered, right, what are the security related devices they are using, right. Then QoS parameters are satisfied or not, what they are following for high availability, right, for storage, what devices they are using, for wireless what which services they are using, right. All these things, all these services, network related services they are providing, that you need to check, right, in network services types, right. And then last one is your network application types. So what are the network application? For example, whether the particular organization is providing your the unified messaging and video delivery or not, right. So if it is if they are providing, then which applications they are using for that, right. For example, the Cisco's application is there for dedicatedly to providing unified messaging and video delivery, right. So is such a devices they are using or not, such applications they are using or not, right. That also you need to taking care of, right. So all this information you need to take upon from a customer, right. So in customer input, what we have seen, in customer input, the first one is the network topology, then the network services, and then the last one is your network applications, right. So in topology, you will get an idea about the IP addressing, routing protocols, physical logical links, bandwidth, and all that things, right. In network services, security related services, high availability, storage related, wireless related, QoS parameter related, right. And in network application, what extra applications, network applications is providing by that particular organization with respect. For example, I have given unified messaging and video delivery, right. If any such applications they are providing or not, right. All this type of the answers you are getting from the customers only, which customers gives you an existing network documentation or that design plan with you, right. And then we will see some of the sample format, right, which I have given here, right. This is nothing but a sample site contact information, right. So here the customer will give you all this information. For example, what is the site location, what is the site address, you can give it to the customer, and customer can fill it for you, right. So it will gives you an all the general information, right. It will gives you an safe just a simple question with the yes and no type questions, right. Whether so and so is there or not, right. If it is there, in which location is there, right, in which floor it is there, right. And what is the position of that, and all that things, right. Why it is required, right. Why this particular form is required? Because it will be allows you to decide, so whether which type of the cabling you need to use for which type of the services, or for which type of the for which floor, right, and which room, which type of the cabling you need to use, how many what is the bandwidth you need to use, right. What are the security protocols or security devices you need to use, right. All these things you need to get clarified from this particular information, right. So that's why this particular information will be needed in this particular scenario, right. Then I have shown you here the some sample high level network diagram, which is nothing but one of the input you can get it from the customer, because we are just discussing about here the existing network infrastructure, right, existing network designing. So whatever the organization you are approaching for designing any kind of the network, right, here they will provide you a sample logical topology diagram or network diagram to you, which is nothing but their existing network design diagram, right. So from this particular existing network diagram, what you need to do is you need to extract some information, right. So what are the existing information you need to get? For example, from this particular high level network diagram, you will easily identify that what are the number of interconnected devices are there, right? Number of routers are there, number of servers are there, what are the end devices are there, right? How many number of switches are used, how many number of routers are used, right? Then what is the IP addressing scheme of is there or not, right? Whether for high availability, what level of redundancy they have maintained in their network, right? What is the details for their security of design, right? What are the types of the links are there, right? Then if the links are there, then what is the speed of that particular link, right? And then what about their layer 2 and layer 3 topologies are there or not? What about their connectivity to their remote areas, right? And which routing protocol they are using, right? So all these kind of the information you are getting easily from with this particular network logical network diagram, right? So if the customer providing you this kind of the diagram, you need to analyze it, you need to identify it, and you need to extract the information from that particular existing logical topology diagram also, right? So that also you need to be taking care of. Okay, then we will move toward our second point, that is how this particular network audit or auditing or assessment of that particular existing networks can be done, right? So before starting this, right, I will just explain you what is mean by this particular auditing and what is mean by this particular assessment, right? So it is nothing but to extract the existing information, right? So whatever the customer is telling you, so and so is there, we have so and so application with us, right? We have so and so bandwidth, we have so and so protocols we are used, right? All that we have some security related networking devices with us, we have so and so server, we have so and so configuration with us, right? So all these things you need to be cross verify, you need to be checked, you need to be assessed with the help of the some tools, right? With the help of the some process, right? So that can be handled by the network audit. Okay, so in this audit, what you are going to provide, you can get it a list of the networking devices whatever you are using, right? What are the hardware specification of that particular devices, versions of that particular devices, right? If the software is installed, some applications are there, then what are the versions of that particular applications, right? Then configurations of all these networking devices whatever you are using, right? Then you also need to get the what is the performance measurement, right? For example, the link or CPU memory utilization of this particular networking devices, right? The list of the ports they are using or unused ports, right? Unused slots in the networking devices, right? So whether that particular ports is not vulnerable or not, right? All these things you need to be can be audit, you need to you need to be get all this particular information, right? So if you see in this particular diagram also, right? So whatever the this network designer, the customer is giving all the existing documentation to this particular networking designer, right? In the second step, that management workstation, that is nothing but for example the existing network management software is there, right? In every organization, right? So from that particular management software also you will get some of the information, right? So that extraction of that particular information is your task, right? And the third one is your new tools, right? So if network designer wants, he or she can install a new tools, and it can more information can be extracted from that particular existing network infrastructure, right? So it totally depends upon the network designer. So this is nothing but the process of how the auditing and how the assessment of the network can be taking place of, right? And then we will see, if you see this particular sample information which will be collected during a network audit, right? So what information they have collected from this particular topology diagram, the router type, right? CPU type, then average CPU utilization, memory utilization, what is the version of that iOS, what is the configuration of this, what is the routing table of this particular router, right? What is the interface type? Gigabit is Ethernet is there. What is the speed of that, right? Link utilization is what is the slots of this particular routers are unused, right? All this information, it can be extracted from this particular only a simple diagram, right? Only a one workstation is connected to the one router, right? And from that particular logical topology, they have extracted this much of information, right? So this will be taken care in your network audit, right? So next we will see sorry, what is the different tools for assessing the networks, right? So I have already told you some manual tools are there which will be used by using by using some of the commands. Sorry. So that also we can be used. Okay, so we will see how the different commands can be used, which will be useful for collecting some of the information. For example, if you consider these particular commands I have shown here, the first command is I have fired this particular command into the router configuration. So if you see router hash show process memory, right? So all the processes memory whatever the router have, right, they provide you here, right? Like a top command I have earlier I have told you, the top command it will be uses for your process management utility, right? So it will be also gives you an process PID, then TTY terminal that controls the processes, that allocated memory, free memory, which holding the memory, right? The then it will be uses the CPU utilization of all that thing, and here the process names, right? So in this way then this particular get buffer time and return buffers time, number of time the process has relinquished a packet buffer, right? All these things you will get it from this particular show process memory and show process CPU, right? This particular show process CPU. So all these things you need to get it from just firing a commands, right? All these are nothing but manual thing that you need to taking care of. And then we will see how the automation tools can be useful for collecting the information, right? So here I'm giving you one of some of the information, some of the screenshots here of the tools, right? The first one is your cactier tool. Some are saying you acti tool, or some are saying the cacti tools. There's the pronunciation is different, right? So it's showing you an different processes, different with respect to their IP addresses, right? With respect to their average time they are running, their CPU utilization, and all that things in percentage, right? All these are showing in this particular cactier tool, right? Each and every devices that are connected with that particular source IP address and destination IP address and all that things, right? So it will gives you an operating system versions, IP addresses, device names, all these things, right? Then the next one is your net MRI. Okay, this is also one auditing automatic collecting information tool. Okay, it will also gives you a similar way result, right? The IP addresses or source IP, destination IP, what the internet working devices are used, what are the protocol we are used, and all that things, right? So by using this you can use, or you can audit, you can assess any kind of the network, right? So these are the some two tools. Okay, then the third point that we will start, that is how the by network traffic can be analyzed, right? And the network application can be analyzed by using some of the tools we will see. So before starting with that, just see this particular diagram, right? So here in if you consider this the first step, right? When use customer input to list of the expected application, right? So whatever the list of the current applications that are with the customers, that you need to get it, you need to get it, right? And then number of steps 2, whatever the traffic analysis, what is the traffic profiles are there, right, which will be helpful to correlate with the applications, whether it will be already with the customers or not, right, that you can cross verify with these particular traffic profiles, right. Because in the traffic profiles you can easily identify all these applications which are used by the customer, right. And then sorry then you need to provide the customer the new set of the applications, right, in step number 3, right, in whether that particular applications are needful to those particular organization or not, right. And after that you need to get it approved from this particular customer. You need to get it importance, security, QoS parameters of all that, all that particular applications, and according to the customer views you need to finalize that particular applications, right. Then yes, then there are some tools for analyzing the traffic. Okay, as I told you, the first one is here the NBAR, that is network based application recognition, right. Which is will be useful for well known application and protocols in the network, right. You can find it very quickly. Okay, so there are some third party hardware and software based product also, right. For example, I just mentioned you earlier, the Cactia is one, right. Then network general sniffer is there. Then Aeropic is there, then SolarWinds Orion is there, then Wireshark you already used, right. So all these are nothing but some of the products, network based or software based, which can be used for the traffic analyzing purposes, right. So NBR, which will be here, for example, if you fire a command show space IP NBAR protocol discovery, right. So it will be gives you the all it will be gives you the protocols, right. What are the different protocols are used: HTTP, secure HTTP, SMP, telnet, NTP, okay, DNS, all these protocols, right. Then their packet count, their byte count, right, in input and in output as well, right. So all the information with respect to the every protocol it will be showing here, right. So it is a Cisco iOS network based application recognition protocol, or is a tool, right. Then Cisco NetFlow is another tool, right, which will be also gives you an with traffic analyzing, right. So if you fire a command show space IP cache flow, right, it will gives you an each and every protocol, their total flows per second, packet per flows back, bytes per packet, right, and all that information with respect to that all these protocols, right. So if you see here, there are a listing of protocols are there, right. Telnet, FTP, WWW, SMTP, BGP, DNS, NTP, all these are nothing but the protocols, right. So all the information with respect to each and every protocols, right, which is responsible for traffic generation, right, for traffic flowing, right. So all these things which are needs to be there, right. Then these are the some third party hardware and software based products, right. So Cactia, that I will also explain in your the network auditing tool can be used, right. In network analysis tool in SolarWinds Orion is also used, right. So these are the some of the names of the some of the tools that also you must know with respect to your network traffic analyzing and network auditing tools, right. Then we will see how this particular summary report can be generated, right. That is nothing but the result of your network characterization process, right. So whatever the network characterization you have done, for example, the first one is what the customer's input, the second one is what your network auditing, right, and the third one is what your network traffic analyzing, right. So from all these three modules, whatever you have extract the information with respect to that particular organization, right, that you need to keep it, that you need to kept in your one of the report is called as your summary report, right. So in this is not one sample summary report, right. So in this, if you see, you have got the network uses 895 routers, right. So out of that there are some characterization of these particular routers also there, right? According to versions, software versions of that particular Cisco iOS is 12.3 655 routers, iOS software version 12.1 221 routers, right? Cisco 12.0 19 routers and all that things, right? As well as the requirements, right? So for example, if our college existing network is there, right? So how many number of routers are using, right? What is the again for the requirement of the routers, or for the requirement of the networking internet networking devices are there, right? And the recommended action, if any of the router or internet networking devices are get corrupted or get old or is not performing well, right, then you need to replace that, right? So that recommended action also you need to give in that particular summary report, right? So all these things, who is doing all these things? The network auditor or network designer can give this summary report, right? Then how this particular document can be drafted, right? So there are some fields are there, there are some strategies, there are some standards which are given, right? So in draft design document, right, for first of all you need to give the network topology that we have discussed, right? Then network audit, right? Then application used in the network, right? What are the different services you are providing, and what are the different application with respect to that you are providing, that you need to give. Then network health analysis, right? How many memory, how many CPU you are going to use each and every devices, right? And all that things. Then recommended changes in the existing network, right? What you are suggesting to that particular existing network infrastructure, that also you need to state here. Then in appendices, the list of existing networking devices and configuration of existing networking devices, that also you need to provide here, right? So this is overall the draft design draft design of that particular we can call it as a network design, right? So all by using which you can explain each and everything with respect to your existing networking architecture and existing network design, right? So what we have covered today is, right, so we have stated you how the today's topic is only dedicated to your existing network infrastructure, right? So in that we have discussed mainly a 3 point, that is the customer inputs, right? How you are going to take the customer inputs from that particular network design logical topology, right? Then network services, what are the different services they are using, security services, QoS and all that things, and the network application, what are the different network application they are using, and according to that whether the requirements are fulfilled or not, that you need to find out, right? Then what is the network audit, right? The process of analyzing the network, right? So by using a manual simple commands also you can do, by using some of the automation tools also you can do this, right? And lastly we have also discussed the traffic analysis, right? So some of the tools are there, so whereas you have already used some NBAR is there, NetFlow is there, right? Cactia, SolarWinds, Orion, all these traffic analyzing tools are there. With the help of that you can analyze the traffic, you can identify the different protocols, different versions, IP addresses, source, destination and all that things, right? And then how you need to create the summary report, right? And how you need to mention all the networking internet networking devices with all these points by creating a design document, right? So all these point we have covered in today's session, right? So there is a one quiz, so total there are 4 questions, 3 minutes you have. So ma'am will post the link of this quiz into your chat box, right? So test is mandatory for all, right? So you need to give the test. So we will stop here. Okay, thank you for joining.